Gary.
Hey, and welcome in, everybody. It's Gardening Inside Out. It's a Saturday morning tradition. Comes to you YouTube, Twitch, all over the place. It's a great place to be because we're here for you. We do it every Saturday morning.
And, I will admit, we're also here for ourselves, Josh.
That's true.
Because we do enjoy doing it, and I hope that little bit gets conveyed along the way. I'm David Bates. That's Josh Carey. And
Hi there.
we're glad to be
That's my
here this
microphone.
morning. And we have a cast of other valuable members
Yes.
we're going to talk about. But we're going to quickly go on to the weather, and then we'll see what all comes up, because we never know.
It's going to be a glorious day, though. Middle Tennessee.
I'm sorry, I got my browser thing out of it. So I did today. Here's the and then we get into Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, cooler conditions, 71, 68, 74. So really looks like a very good week weather-wise. I'm going to give you a check of the radar here. And all that came through yesterday, well, there it is. It's to our south and to our east, and doesn't appear to be anything severe in there. So we're grateful that the folks who are receiving the remnants of all that are not getting things that appear to be severe. Here we have the 6 to 10 day precip outlook, and right now you'll see we're in the near normal stage. I've never been described as being near normal, but the precipitation is at this time. So we're only got a couple of days of that. We have in the previous 6 to 10 day outlook, we were considerably above. So that did not actually pan out. And as we look at the weather site here at Bates Nursery, give you some statistical data. Since midnight, we got 1600s. We did get more rain before that, so a 6300s for the total event. We had 1.29 for the week, 195 for the month, and we are sneaking up on 30 inches for the year, by the way. Our average annual rainfall is 39 inches. So we're within 10 inches of the total rainfall we would expect for the year. And currently it's 71.2 degrees according to the weather station here at the Green Room, live from Bates Nursery and Garden Center. So
Yep.
There's all that.
That's so odd because the 37167 has had significantly more rain this week. I mean, according to Bates-O-Matic 650, it was probably, I'd say, almost 5 inches just this week.
And
an inch and a half or so last night.
Therein demonstrates the differences between what occurs in one spot and another. Quite a dramatic amount of differences in precipitation levels from one place to the next. I get some emails, actually fairly frequently. Where are you getting your information from? We didn't get anything like that, or we got 3 times that much.
Right.
So You don't have to be that far away from each other for there to be a marked difference in the amounts of precipitation. So that's why it's good to have, at least a little rain gauge that you dump. The weather stations have become really very prevalent today, and because of that, there's not much. There's really not much to setting them up. It's great information to have at your specific location, and then it gives you the opportunity to do comparative analysis between you and maybe friends or family that are a short distance away. So, I like having one, and I tend to have them wherever I'm a data collector kind of a guy. I just do. And part of the data we collect, Josh,
What's that?
is within the group of people we have in our presence at this moment. And that, of course, is Caroline Gant, Austin Lowen. Welcome in, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Today, and good to have everyone aboard. Tyler Blankenship across the way there. Good morning, Tyler.
Tyler
Great to have
Cam.
you here today. And well,
Love the
we
point.
are always glad. Sorry, I'm stretching for something else
I'm
here.
back.
Well,
There he is.
You like the crazy angle too? It's like you're like leering over me.
I like it.
I'm glad.
Very nice, Tyler.
Look at all them flowers around y'all this morning.
We went with
pretty
a pink
set.
and yellow theme today.
I like it in here.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah,
it's cheery.
it is cheery.
It's nice.
What's
Kind
going
of what
on?
it looks like
Anyway.
outside.
Yeah, what's going on your end over there?
Who are you talking to, Tyler?
who's in?
Yeah.
You who are on the camera, Caroline and Austin.
Well, I'm a little mad. I had no power this
Oh,
morning.
man.
Had to stop
Got
at the
you.
gas station to get coffee. That's annoying.
So
I'm not
you're
used to
not
not
on your
having
A
coffee.
game this
Special
morning, is
brew.
what
No,
you're
I'm still
saying.
on the A game. Still, if the gas station coffee's fine. Okay, it's not tasty, but it'll work. It does the trick. So anyway, I hope my power's back on. We had a
glad
little
you
bit of
made it.
crazy stuff last night. I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't. I didn't have significant damage or anything, but there was a lot of debris, sticks, trees down, all that on the way in this morning. So hope everyone's safe out there.
Any dead Bradford pears?
Yeah, I saw Bradford pear split. Just
baby.
split.
All
Laying in someone's yard. I saw that
and
on the
I
way.
think that what that demonstrates where you live and an area where Caroline lives is areas north and west of town got a significantly different, more extreme go of it. Kentucky had some
Yeah,
areas
buddy.
that got really devastated, so not that far away, and a major difference. So the key is being weather aware, and I have to believe that as a group, gardeners are probably the best and most adept at that, simply because it affects what our passion is, and
Yes.
that's getting out and digging and growing things, and that's why you're here today, because that's what we love to talk about, and we actually know something about it, and
Little bit.
we've got
Some of us.
questions that we'll attempt to answer. I believe we'll have success at that. That will make all that work out.
You brought up a
So-
great point, David. I don't know how I survived to my age without a rain gauge in my yard. I've only had one 2 seasons. Makes all the difference in the world. You're not overwatering, you're not wasting water, you're not doing a whole lot of other things, and it's really simple. I mean, stick it in the ground and move on. And
I don't
kind
have
of play
one.
this
you
game
don't
with
have a
myself.
rain gauge either?
I don't. Do you?
No, I don't have one.
I
either.
kind of play this game with myself where that I try to guess before I look how much has been received, and I'm frequently way off. I mean, amazed at how far off I am, both long and short. So it's great to have documentable tools at our disposal, and we've all got these devices. So it's one of those things that's, if you like delving into data, it's a fun little thing. Plus, it gives you a little bit of reminder and a history that you can look back at and say, well, when's the last time we got an X amount of rain? Well, you can very easily look back and find that.
Very good.
Maybe I'll get a ring.
I know
Caroline.
that now, Caroline and Austin, I know we talked just a little bit to give you a chance to talk about whatever is pressing on you, and then we've got, I'm certain, questions coming up.
We do have a few.
One thing quickly before we move away from that is to want to give a big shout out to Miriam Mims for being on last week.
Was
Thank you,
Miriam.
Miriam. We thoroughly enjoyed it. The what it did to us last week was that we made time for her and for the Hillsborough Richland West End, Hillsborough West End garden tour, which I understand was quite successful. I think we made no insignificant contribution to the attendance of that. We're grateful to be able to provide that for the great neighborhood and good folks. But we gave a significant amount of time and bandwidth because they're important people to us.
That's right.
Hey,
if you went, chime in, tell us you went.
Yeah, Ed and Risha emailed us and said they got to meet Miriam and they did go to the garden tour.
Risha.
So because of that, we didn't get to as near as many questions last week as we normally would. So we're going to try to rectify that to the best of our ability. So that's enough out of me.
All right.
Take it away, Caroline.
Let's go ahead and go into questions. We're going to start with an email that we got from a listener titled Torn Between Two Trees.
Go.
I have a new hawthorn tree and a serviceberry tree that both appear to be infected with cedar rust. I just got distracted by this new little feature we have.
That's cool.
Wow, Tyler.
I know, right?
In the
I'm full
same
of
acre
surprises.
of yard, I have a mature cedar tree and 2 eastern red cedars. If I remove the cedars, will the rust go away eventually, or is there another way to get rid of the rust and keep all the trees? From Bryce.
Hawthorn and a serviceberry.
On a serviceberry.
Which both trees are susceptible to cedar apple rust.
Wow.
Okay, and we see it here. Obviously, you see it around town, and it is because of the cedar trees. Okay, technically junipers. They're kind of it's a host between the two. It's like a symbiotic relationship, if you will, for this pathogen. Now, this pathogen is not a killer of plants usually, especially hawthorn and serviceberry. It will affect the fruit of serviceberry, and that's what we're after. So, if you want it, getting rid of the juniper for sure is going to be your first mode of action. I mean,
Hard to do.
It's hard to do. They're and there's. They can be, long way away, and you can still see that pathogen travel over to your trees. So, but if they are close to your trees, if you can remove them, then remove the trees, and you'll, kind of prevent that from happening a little bit. But preventative sprays with fungicides are what you're going to have to do to keep this disease at bay. And now that you've got it, there's nothing you can really do at this point besides spray to prevent it from getting on new leaves, and that's going to be with a fungicide. Also, pruning of individual leaves is it's fun. It's just
I can't handle it, Tyler. You can
I know.
I'm
like it.
laughing so hard over here.
I like it, but yeah, sorry that your trees have a little bit of that, y'all. It's not going to kill your plant, though. Okay, for this season, you may as well just kind of live with it. The leaves are going to drop over the winter, and then if you don't do anything, you're going to see it happen again next spring. But
Doesn't
there
it
are
skip
preventative
back
sprays.
and forth, though?
Yeah, it does. It'll go back to a juniper, and then you'll
Yeah.
see that gelatinous orange, gross stuff.
That's what's really interesting is how different the pathogen expresses itself from one type of plant to the other. On the apple trees and everything that's in the malus-related family, it looks like these splotches on the leaves, and it affects the fruit. But then on the conifers, on the junipers that it gets on, or what we call cedar trees around here, it is that juicy glob that's on there that it makes you, what is this? So those are in fact the same pathogen. It just they look very different depending on which host they're on, and they do tend to alternate back and forth. So you may get them a lot on the cedar trees one year, and then the alternating year you may see a lot of it on apple trees and other things like that.
Because it's I'm going to say impossible to do, but spraying a big cedar tree, you go broke trying to get fungicide on
Well, that's
it.
you don't really spray the cedar. I mean,
Right.
that's the one that we don't. I say we don't care so much about, but it doesn't really affect the cedar end of it all that much.
Right.
Now, when you do see that big orange gelatinous thing that's on your cedar tree, that's the reproductive parts of. That's where the spores are going to happen. So if you want to, help your tree out, if you can reach it anyway, go there and get like a plastic bag or something and take it over that and then prune it off of that.
Sounds kind of gross.
It is kind of gross.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I used to have to mow around all these cedar trees. My
Did
dad
they
used
just
to,
whack you in the face?
a lot of times I get that orange jelly on my arm as I was driving by it.
And I bet you went, ugh,
I did. Went, ugh. Gross.
ew. Well,
But anyway, it's kind of part of it around here.
yeah.
It just is.
Tennessee
All right.
gardening. Speaking of Tennessee gardening, let's talk loropetalum in Tennessee. We
Okay.
have a question that said, I have loropetalums that did not survive the winter. Should I plant new ones or try something else?
Mine are
I would
glorious.
say
Oh,
this
well,
year.
Josh.
My recommendation would be to try something else. Now,
Yeah.
loropetalums are an interesting plant, and they do some things that nothing else quite does, and that therein lies the interest. But anytime we have a reasonably harsh winter. And some of it is cultivar. There are some cultivars that seem to do a little better in the winter hardiness category than others. But they are not the hardest plant,
No.
and they're never going to be. And so if you want to be able to make the best of your gardening efforts in dollars, it might be something you want to consider a different choice.
Yeah, mine came. I thought I'd lost them all in the Christmas freeze several years ago. They came back bigger, better, and stronger.
Really?
Yeah, they all the way to the ground. But
Well, and that's a good point, Josh, because a lot of people overreact when it comes to death of plants and things that they interpret as being dead, when in fact it's just been killed back to the ground. And
right.
so the root systems are generally not affected by it. So if you can be patient and wait until, towards the end of the month, you may begin to see some leaves start to push out at the base. Fig trees are one of the most prime examples of that. They're hardy here, but they also can get killed back to the ground level. So just wait. If you see anything green coming at all, just prune all the dead off and apply some patience and fertilizer.
Yep.
And you'll have a good recovery, generally speaking. So kind of a judgment call there.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, there's not too many plants that look like Laura petalum.
No.
I mean, I understand
it's
why
a
people
cool look.
like it. I mean, it's got purple foliage for the
And the
most
little
part.
blooms are like a little burst. They're crazy.
They're beautiful. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, when they flush, they're really pretty. But like David said, you've got to be patient with these plants, and you've got to remember that and know that you're gonna, over the past 3 winters at least, you have seen dieback on Laura petalum, like you said, David. Like they're not dead. They certainly look awful over the wintertime, okay, and you're gonna see that. But if you go in there and prune in the early spring, a lot of times you see that flush, and like you said, Josh, they're almost bigger and better. You know, if you give them that harsh kind of cutback and then wait a little while, they're gonna flush and they're gonna be pretty.
Wonderful. Sorry,
There you go.
I was reading
Ended.
through an email.
Period.
Ended right there. All right, well, let's move on. Sweet Bay Magnolia.
Okay,
Oh, very-
It's bending. How do they solve this?
it's bending.
Yeah.
Why is it bending?
That's all I got. Sweet Bay Magnolias are bending.
They're a little top
How
heavy.
do I solve this?
I guess it
sounds a
depen-
little top heavy.
Depends on how big it is. I mean, obviously, staking is something that we do very commonly with trees. Almost every tree that we get has got a stake in it to kind of keep it straight. So you got to get a stake somewhat close. Don't worry so much about like the root system. A lot of people worry about that, driving a post into the root system. It's fine, y'all. It's going to go right through it. It might sever some roots or whatever, but that's not going to kill your tree or whatever. So if it is bending, obviously, drive a stake in there, pull it back to it, and get it back straight.
And it'll get stronger and stronger as it grows.
Sweet bays are about to be real pretty, y'all. They just started flushing along with regular magnolias, evergreens. They're flushing around town, and boy, they're nice this year. I
Yes,
love
they
a
are.
good sweet bay.
want a
Native
sweet
magnolia,
bay.
y'all.
Yeah, and a lot of people also have what it's probably is an indication of is it's in a heavier shade environment or on the edge between shade and sun, so it's
Reaching.
maybe growing over that direction and it gets top heavy. There are a lot of people who are maybe their one skill that they're lacking is their ability to prune and maybe do so severely. Now, if you're getting ready to have flowers, you don't want to do it in
Now.
advance of that. But right after it blooms, you might also consider doing a pretty severe prune and bring that branch structure back in tight. And then that will alleviate quite a lot of it. If it's been several years since you pruned, likely that's it. Maybe we had some event, snow or whatever over the winter that pulled that limb down. So it could be something as simple as that.
Yeah, I need to get out and prune my Jane Magnolia. It's very weepy looking right now. It's a big tree, but yeah, the branches are a little bit heavy and growing onto my hydrangeas.
Can't have that.
No, you can't because they're blooming right now. My little snow sickle oak leaf hydrangea is blooming. You can't really see it, so maybe I'll do that.
Well,
when I get-
that plant of any of them needs to be seen. My
well,
God.
I can see it.
Oh.
I just walk under the branch and look
No,
at it.
Caroline, prune that thing off.
Well, you're only a mailbox and a half tall. Too, so.
I know, 2 bird baths tall. It's crazy. It is wild. We've already touched on this a little bit, plants dying back to the ground and then coming up, but someone is asking about their Crape. Myrtle only has new growth from the ground. Limbs are mostly bare. Why?
That happened a lot around town this year. Y'all, we got down to 0 for a couple of nights. I mean, and that's chilly for a crepe myrtle. Let's be honest. Now, a lot of them are fine and came back from the stems, but a lot of them are not. And they died back totally on top, and they're coming back from the ground. And we've talked about this. It's almost impossible to actually kill a crepe myrtle, okay? So you can make it look 1,000 times better if you just cut off those old dead sticks and let the new stuff form. It'll end up being a 5-foot shrub by the end of the season, and it'll still bloom. So just get rid of the old stuff. Let the new stuff happen. I promise it'll be clean, it'll be green, and it'll still flower for you. But you need to just get rid of the old stuff.
Get rid of the old stuff.
I
Sometimes you
personally
need to bring in new
yeah,
stuff.
Yeah, I personally prefer the shrub look.
A lot of
on a
people,
crepe myrtle.
yeah, that's totally fine.
Well, for many, many years, people grew crepe myrtle. That was the only way they were grown. They didn't start doing the tree form approach really until about the last 30 years. And then, of course, that tells a tale on me, but that's another story. What we're going to talk about right now is how to get not only the best growth out of your crepe myrtles, but everything you plant. And that's Earth Mix Garden Products. I'm going to kind of change it up a little bit this week. I'm going to go straight to where you can get it.
Wow.
Because it's available at a lot of locations throughout Tennessee, Kentucky, northern Alabama, western North Carolina, and even out in Crested Butte, Colorado. Check all those locations out at earthmix.net. You just go to earthmix.net, click on the Find Earth Mix tab, which is right up here, right above the map on the right-hand corner. Click on that, and it'll take you to the map. And you can either put your address in for turn-by-turn directions, or you can zoom into a location nearest you. By the way, right here in this, there's like all kinds. There's a bunch right in there. So check that out. If you're looking to have success in gardening and you don't want to make it excessively difficult, the way to do that is use Earth Mix, whether it is a pre-prepared mix such as Earth Mix Garden or Progatix O, or if you're working on indoor plants, and that's kind of Caroline's domain, Progatix I is the professional indoor growing mix. Those all do an incredible job. They're very much specific to the application. But in addition to that, there's Viragra, which is the worm castings. There's Magic Mushroom Compost, and a host of other things. Landscape, which is perhaps our biggest and best product. It has a lot of different uses. And so when you're planting anything, landscape is the one to think about. And again, we have substantiated that it significantly reduces your loss. It significantly increases your growth. And we've had a lot of customers send us in comparative things to show, I didn't intend to do this, but I did. And look at the difference. So
try it, folks. You'll see the proof. I promise you that.
And the Earth Mix difference is available at all those locations I mentioned earlier. So you can check all those out at earthmix.net. And just remember this, success begins at the ground level when you use Earth Mix Garden Products. We appreciate you giving us a moment to talk about that and help take the work out of your gardening efforts. And what do you say, Josh?
Hey, you need 4 things. You need plants. You need sunshine. You need water. You need Earth Mix. You got to get it. Prove it. And
will
try
make
that
a
side by
difference.
side, folks. I promise you will see the difference. Absolutely.
So,
Wonderful.
Darn it.
Darn
do
it. Do it. Yes.
Yes.
I top dressed with Supernatural for my raised beds this year, just to bulk them up a little
yeah,
bit.
and one thing I did not mention, just as a footnote to that, it's all 100% organic. There's no chemical additives in any of the Earth Mix products. So you can use them in any application without fear of if it's an edible crop or not. You're not going to be ingesting anything that has been introduced through the growing media. So remember that when you choose soils and amendments, choose Earth Mix.
It's wonderful. You know what else is wonderful?
What?
Whatever's going to come out of your mouth next.
What's in bloom with Austin?
Hey, guys. You know what's on my mind when it comes to blooming, and that's annuals. I'm giving a shout out to the annuals this week. Okay,
Oh,
and I'm going to talk about the goat, and I think I'm gonna raise some eyebrows on this. I think we're gonna see.
I'm
We're gonna
interested to
see.
see what
okay,
you're gonna say.
So let's talk about.
He's going to say petunias.
No,
he's
you're gonna be surprised. Here we go. Okay, let's talk about some shade annuals. Okay, the classic impatiens. Okay, New Guinea impatiens, which are lovely, y'all. You need to be growing those in the shade because they're fantastic plants. Begonias, classic, old school. Coleus, if you like that foliage color, y'all. Coleus is great. Caladiums for the foliage color, y'all. Who doesn't love caladiums? My
I
God, they
love
are
them.
beautiful. I use them in my mixed containers. They're so good, okay? Look, there's ferns of all sorts, y'all. If you just want that classic green, you got a white pot, any kind of pot, doesn't matter. You can use ferns as filler material or just standalones. Ferns are great for the shade, y'all. And then, hey, hypoestis, what do you know about that? It's called
Nothing.
the polka dot plant, okay? There's pink ones, there's kind of reddish ones, there's white ones. I love polka dot plant. It's a really,
good
it
one.
is my, like,
Is
guilty
it
pleasure.
spotty?
Do what?
Is it spotty?
It is spotty. It is a polka dotty plant. Yes, it is. But it's like my guilty. I got to get a 4-pack or 2 of those every single season. Can't help myself. They are the cutest pink on the planet. Okay, let's move over to the sun. Let's obviously talk about petunias. Y'all know, love me some petunias. Classic, classy, fantastic petunias. Love them. Mine are doing really well right now. Okay, hey, sun patience. If you haven't done those, you ought to try them because they turn into shrubs and they are just constant bloomers until frost. We got Gomphrena, shout out Ann in the office who turned us on to those.
good.
Caroline loves her Gomphrena. I do too. They're fantastic. Vinca for the hot spot.
There you go.
Zinnias. Caroline, shout out to you. You
Thank
love
you.
your zinnias.
I
They're
do.
beautiful,
Yes,
okay?
I do.
Celosia, what a cool plant. Coxcomb, people call it. Rooster tails, I've even heard people call it. Hey, very bright colors, very loud. If you're into loud stuff, hey, try some celosia.
Orange.
Uh-huh.
Yes, yes.
Oh, orange, yellows,
Oh, yeah.
red foliage of them. Celosia is really, really nice, and they're still cheap. They come in 4-packs. Set them out, y'all. Okay, salvias. There's annuals and perennials of salvia, but those are those blue kind of purplish flowers. Those are fantastic. Marigolds for your vegetable garden. Everybody uses those. Still a very popular annual to grow. Hey, pentas. I saw a cart of pentas yesterday, okay? I don't know if you know this plant or not, but hummingbirds absolutely love them. So if you want a lot of hummingbirds in your yard, grow some pentas. They're great for that. Dahlias, everybody loves dahlia. Big as your head bloom. Fantastic. Another one for the hot spot is lantana, okay?
Yes.
Lantana is so easy, all right? But I'm going to move on to the goat. The goat. And I'm going to see what y'all think about this, okay? A lot of people call me kind of the grandma around here, all right? I like grandma flowers. I like petunias. I like begonias. And you know what I like the most and the most versatile annual on the planet?
Talk to me.
Geraniums.
There you go.
Hey, I said it. I don't give me that look. I told you were you raise some eyebrows. You're like giving me a scowl. Look.
I'm not even looking at you.
Look, Caroline, geraniums. I'm gonna tell you why. Look, is this a grandma plant? It certainly is. But you know what?
betcha.
Shout out to the grandmas because grandma's been growing plants for what 70 years. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And do they still grow geraniums? Of course they do. You know why? Because they'll live in the shade and they'll bloom. They'll live in the sun and they'll bloom. Anywhere on the planet, geraniums will pretty much bloom. Now, if they're in the sun, they need a little more water. If they're in the shade, they need a little less water. So let's just be mindful of that. But when they start blooming, they never stop. Not until frost. It's the easiest plant on the planet to grow, and they're just pretty.
They are pretty.
Let's
I mean,
be
I like
honest.
them. I'm just shocked that you.
I think it's the goat because of versatility and bloom time and ease of growth.
Okay.
I'm going geraniums. I knew you would say something about this.
Still a little shocked.
They're white, they're red, they're pink, they're bicolored. There's leaf
and there's the
colors
ones that have the leaves that are
that are different.
I do
They're
like 'em.
y'all. I'm telling you, like I said,
Also, I'm with you on that.
There he is, David.
Because my grandmother,
See?
speaking of grandmother plants, she grew many, I mean, thousands of them. And the point of all the points you made are correct. Now, they're not great if it stays too wet.
That's right.
But beyond that, if you can control the moisture and you give them an adequate amount of sunshine, they can also take a fair amount of shade.
Mm-hmm.
They are outstanding. They do not stop blooming. They're awesome. So
They're
yeah,
awesome.
good job on that one. And the one you mentioned just before, if you've got a really hot place, lantanas, there's
Mm-hmm.
nothing that survives in extreme heat conditions. If it's a planter next to a parking lot where
Or a
the
nuclear
pavement
plant.
just makes it, they'll do fine. It just
right.
doesn't bother them.
That's right. You know, another thing before we leave geraniums is the deadheading. Okay, look, I love petunias. Don't get me wrong, but boy, they take some work. Okay, and then August comes around, I got to cut them back, got to feed them, all this stuff. Petunias are you know they're a little needy, and I'm okay with that. I love beauty so much. You are a grandma. Thanks, Joyce. Thanks for that. Joyce, I am a grandma. You know what? I'm taking it. And I love geraniums, but the deadheading on geraniums is so easy. You just pop it. You just pop the whole stem right off, and then you're done. Like that's what's easy. Deadheading petunias, horrible. It's awful. It's not fun. I don't like it. But I
it's
still
worth
do
it for you to
yeah,
grow 'em.
it is. But y'all,
Geraniums feel therapeutic when you're deadheading those.
yes, they just pop. It's so
And
fun to do.
I love the fragrance of the foliage and the sap in them when you're handling. I mean, it's a totally splendid experience throughout.
That's right. So Joyce, come on out and buy the goat geraniums. We'll Grandma walk around together.
The
Are you
AI
doing
is
geraniums
picking up
this year?
No. That's what I was telling my wife last night. I was like, I'm going to pick a plant that I'm not even growing this year.
I don't think I've ever known you to grow that one.
Oh, yeah, I've definitely. Oh,
well,
certainly.
since I've known you, that's what I'm saying.
No, I've grown it before, yeah.
Not since
you've
I've known you.
Yes, I have.
I don't think so.
I had a nice big pot right out front. I stuck a big old geranium in it, and it bloomed all the way till frost. I did that like 2-3 years ago.
Okay.
It was lovely.
All right, Grandma.
Thanks.
Sounds cool.
I'll take it.
I do like geraniums a lot, and I kind of want to grow some.
They're versatile.
They are. Josh, were you saying something about AI?
Well, the closed captioning is picking up geraniums as Iranians. We do not.
that's
want-
not us.
Not us.
Nope.
No.
Not us. But anyway, y'all, hey, before we leave, there's still a ton of annuals back in the greenhouse, y'all. You need color. You got a spot that's open. You got a pot that you need to fill. Lol. Y'all. No.
Lol, everybody.
No.
Laugh
Yeah,
out loud.
y'all, come out and get some annuals. Throw some color out there. We all need color.
We
Loud.
do. Everybody needs loud color. Yeah.
All right.
That
That's
would
it.
be
I'm
you
done.
as a plant. Grandma. Happy Mother's Day, Grandma. All right, so let's talk about flowering shade plants. You just talked about flowers, but someone is looking for a flowering, low-maintenance ground cover for a bed with part shade.
Okay. I wonder if we're talking annuals. We talking perennials? Ground cover?
I would think for ground cover, maybe perennial, if you can think of one.
Probably perennial.
Bugleweed, that one. I've grown
Ajuga.
that before.
What a great plant. Ajuga is very versatile, too.
Hellebore.
I've seen Ajuga in full sun and shade, and it does fine. Yes, Josh, your hellebore. What a great ground cover. I mean, it's a little taller than like a right on the ground cover, but still, it stays nice
Great
and low.
filler.
I
Yeah.
always want to say Gesundheit when someone says Ajuga. You know, I don't know why.
Yeah. But no, Ajuga's really pretty. I mean, that's a good call on that one. Hey, you know what else? What's that one I'm trying to think of? It's got that blue flower. We sell it as an annual a lot, but it's also a perennial in areas it's blue. And I can't think of it at the moment. It'll come to me.
Oh, you're thinking hard. Well, while it comes to you, we did get a live question about geraniums, so we'll bring it back around. Mary is asking, can you bring in geraniums over the winter? Will they come back asking for an old lady?
Yes, Mary, you can actually. Bring them in the house. You might have to cut them back a little bit. Put them in a window as sunny as you can get, and you're going to get them to overwinter. Like they're an easy house plant too, y'all. We talk about it all the time. Like what you could grow as a house plant is like it seems like almost anything as long as you've got the light for it. I mean, I feel like you could grow boxwood inside if you wanted to. So
And I have an alternate method for wintering them over that my grandmother used to use. Getting back to the grandma reference,
Grandmas
is
know.
that you take them out of into the, if you have like a root cellar environment or a basement that doesn't freeze but stays cool and dark, you simply move them in there, let them completely dry out, take them out of the pot, and dislodge all the soil and hang them upside down.
What?
Now, you'll only get about half of them survive.
Oh, okay.
But if you have a bunch of them, half could be really good. So my grandmother did
Better
that.
than none.
Tyler.
And you repot them as the weather starts to the days get longer and it starts warming up. It's another thing that has almost a forgotten concept. So consider doing that as you get into the end of the flowering season for your geraniums.
I like the idea of that method. That one's cool. That was interesting.
Wouldn't work in the dining room though. I mean, you don't want to have.
I mean, it could.
You
No,
could.
like I said, it needs to be in a root cellar, basement.
okay.
And most important, it cannot freeze. So, if it
Right.
can stay in the upper 30s, low 40s, it's ideal.
I'm gonna try that. Maybe we'll see.
Give it a go.
I have a lot of plant
Take it
projects.
to your root cellar.
And then Colin on YouTube said, "It makes me wonder what Austin is going to be like as a grandpa." I would say grandma. Is he going to be a quiet grandpa because he
Heck
spent it
no.
all in his youth? I doubt it.
Quiet,
maybe.
Austin.
Yeah.
I don't think that'll ever happen.
You know what's
I bet
funny about this?
Cantankerous comes to mind.
Yeah.
Is what's funny about this is my mother-in-law commented last week as I do this show or whatever, and it's like she never sees me like this loud, and I'm actually a fairly docile creature whenever I'm not talking about plants. I'm telling y'all, I am.
A docile
It's
creature.
once plants
The
get involved, then I
qualifier
get excited. But
fairly.
like in normal life, I'm pretty chill. Y'all, Tyler.
What is
Sorry.
that compared to? I'm just curious. Anyway,
But anyway, Colin, I don't know. We'll see. We'll figure it out together, man. Whenever we're grandpas, we'll hang out.
We're going to wait until we're grandpas for
Yeah.
that, though. Yeah, wait until that moment. We are getting a lot of comments about the geranium method, David, that your grandmother used. A lot of folks are saying theirs did as well. So that's very cool. Let's bring it
There
back.
you go.
All right, best lilac for our area.
Oh, well. I mean, any of the lilacs we sell really are fine for our area. It just depends on we've talked about this many times. It's got to get cold enough for them to bloom in the spring. Okay, I know that sounds weird, but that's what has to happen. All right, we had a good lilac year this year, so this winter was nice. They had the chilling hours that they needed for them to bloom. Now there is a new one out, and I say newish. It's the Bloomerang series, which is really a nice plant. It's got much different foliage than what you think of with the classic lilac, and it's also got a little bit different bloom as well, but. They were excellent this year, and they have some reblooming quality. So a lot of times, as summer draws on and we get a little bit cooler into the fall, they'll throw some reblooms. So, and they still
Now,
smell
Austin, I got a
fantastic.
question.
What's up?
Does it seem to be more resilient to powdery mildew than the other varieties?
Most certainly. I've noticed that, yes. The
That's a big
leaves
deal
are
right there.
It's a huge deal. Lilacs have big, glossy leaves, for the old school ones anyway do,
Right.
and they can get really loaded with powdery mildew, and it's very evident because those leaves are so kind of velvety that you really notice it. On those new Bloomerang series, the leaves are much smaller. There's a lot more leaves, but they're a lot smaller. So even if you do still get a little powdery mildew, it's not as evident because those leaves aren't so big. So yeah, great point, David. Very much so better with that pathogen.
Hey, Joyce says, if Austin gets quiet, we need to be worried.
Yeah.
And then our next question is about a hydrangea. Is it okay to use rose tone to fertilize vanilla strawberry hydrangeas?
Yeah, sure. It's not going to hurt anything. I mean, any of the tones, y'all, any of the organic products of those, I mean, it's a lot of marketing on what they target for, say, rose tone, plant tone, tree tone, holly tone, all this stuff. There's only a couple that actually have different things in them, but
Holly tone is the one.
holly
Tomato
tone
tone
and
has
tomato
theirs,
tone has
yeah.
some calcium in it, I think. The holly tone has some sulfur in it, I believe, David, at a little higher rate. So
Exactly, to lower the pH. So.
yeah, but other than that, rose tone is going to be fine for your hydrangeas. Never hurts to feed with organics. Okay, you're not going to
And
burn.
like you're saying, they're functionally similar.
Yes.
They're really, if you used any other one on any other thing, it wouldn't do damage. If you use holly tone on something that's not an acid-loving plant, it would lower the pH. But at the levels it does it probably is not injurious.
No.
So there's no need for you to have a citrus tone, tomato tone. I mean, tomato tone does have calcium in it, but those are since they're organics, the release is so slow that you're not going to exact injury probably on anything. So
Yeah,
you're okay to use them.
that's right.
But you're also okay to have every one of them if you want to.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like you said, David, just because tomato tone has some added calcium in it, like putting that on other plants is, I mean, calcium's a macronutrient too.
Yes.
It's very much
Exactly.
needed by all plants. So having that extra calcium for any of your plants is
Not gonna
probably
hurt
not
a
going to hurt.
Nope.
All right. Soil question. How do I prepare clay soil so that I can plant flowers and other plants? What do I use?
Tell them, David.
Well, if clay soil has some very fine particulate nature to it, and because of that, it doesn't allow for percolation. It really impedes the penetration of roots easily into the soil. So you need to do some things that will help to loosen that soil up. And you only have that opportunity when you plant. So if you use a product like Earth Mix Landscape, for instance, it has all the good things into it. Calcium is one of those things that is another
Benefit.
product that helps to, it changes the the cation electron ratio. What it means is that it keeps them from repelling and makes them more attractive so that you're able to get water down in there easier. So by doing that, you make the soil friable, and it will stay that way but as you continue to add organic material to it. One of the common comments I've heard over the years is people talking about, well, I'll put this hardwood mulch out, but it just goes away. It's not going away.
No.
Breaking down and going into your soils. I have seen hard pan clay soils turn into really friable, loamy soils over the course of, say, 8 or 10 years of
Yeah, decade.
application. It's amazing what it'll do. So you got to keep working on your soils. Not every, some people are very fortunate and maybe live in a river bottom area, and that's great, but most people don't. So it requires a methodical approach in order to keep working on that soil and improving it.
Mm-hmm.
It does.
And I guess we'll just segue since I have the camera at this moment. We'll just go ahead and move into our next little thing, and that's where we're coming from here. And that's Bates Nursery and Garden Center. And if you're into growing plants, well, this is where you need to be coming, because we have plants in both quality and variety and selection, not just with respect to numbers of plants that are available. It's the available expertise that really, I think, separates Bates Nursery from others that do what we do. You need to come out here if you've got questions, just like we demonstrated on the show today. We're prepared to answer them, and it doesn't matter if we haven't had time to research. We don't spend. I mean, Caroline spends time on collecting the questions, but we don't do show prep, trying to figure all this stuff out.
Sometimes that's obvious.
If you look at me, you can tell I've likely been doing this a while. And but we've got a staff of people who are freely exchange information with each other, and the experience and the expertise. No one person knows it all. Mm-hmm. Especially me at this stage of the game. I have moved well into the forgetting stage. Be that as it may, I surround myself, thankfully, by the best horticulturalists and people who are really interested in helping you to get the most out of your gardening efforts. So come with photographs on your phone or tablet and your questions, and we'll help you to get the right plants in the right place the first time, because that's the way we do it at Bates Nursery and Garden Center, and hopefully suggest some timely things. I do a weekly newsletter or blog. If you look on the website, there's a little blog tab up there. And this week I talked about the pansy dilemma. And it's this thing that happens this time every year. Your pansies look fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
It just tears your heart out to have to pull those out. But if you're going to have summer annuals, you got to do it. So grab some free used containers from us if you would like when you come out. And you can dig those up and keep them around for a while, give them as gifts, whatever you'd like to do. And then you may have made room for your summer annuals to get in, because you got to get them in now before the weather gets crazy hot and it gets crazy dry. Now, we've had a great spring precipitation-wise, but you can't rely on that. So get those pansies out and come check out, as Austin was talking about earlier in his a very adept evaluation of the significance of annuals in the landscape. They do what nothing else can do. Mm-hmm. So come see us, whether it's for annuals, perennials, ornamental grasses, fruiting trees, shade trees, shrubs, shade, sun, it doesn't matter. We have them all at Bates Nursery and Garden Center. So come out and see us, and we will do everything we can to help you get what you need and get the right plants in the right place the first time. Bates Nursery and Garden Center. And by the way, if you're interested in receiving the blog, you can sign up online, or you can just come out and we'll sign you up in that process. And we're glad to have you. I have no ability to explain this, but somehow I have wound up having more than 34,000 active subscribers to the newsletter, of which nearly half read it every week. So, very grateful for that. We're glad to be a part of this Nashville community, particularly of the gardening community. And we're very proud to get to be the go-to for all your plant needs, Bates Nursery and Garden Center. So thank you. And to my grandmother right there. Mm-hmm. So that's all I got.
All right.
And I got something.
Yeah, you do. You got a lot of something.
What's in room with Caroline?
All right, so let's start talking. So these trees in the corner, this is Burgundy Lace European Filbert. I have one sitting on my driveway that I have not planted yet, that I rescued from our lot at the end of the season last year. And once it leafed out, I was like, I am so glad that I ended up bringing this home. I wasn't sure about it, but when the sunlight hits it, it looks like this kind of burgundy rainbow color. Like the leaves are a dark green, red. It really has a very interesting look. And the stems also have a cool little shiny look as well. So I'm a fan of this one. Haven't decided where I'm going to plant it yet, but I'm sure, hopefully, that will happen very, very soon. And under the TV, we've got Sunjoy Gold Pillar Barberry. So I've never been a huge fan of barberry because my mind typically went to that red, really, really pokey barberry that my parents had in their landscaping in the house that they're in now. No longer there. But I'm really into this one. I could see myself planting this. Ben Trest, shout out to him, one of the landscape specialists here at Bates, grows this one because he lives in Hendersonville and he has a insane deer problem, as most people who are out there do.
So it has thorns as well?
It does.
Yes.
But this is one that it doesn't seem like the deer will really mess with. So if you need a full sun something, this one's going to get taller. It stays more slender. This could be a plant for you.
I think.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I can I feel it right now. Got me a little bit. Okay, so let's talk about what's in front of us. We brought in one of Austin's absolute favorite flowers. Can you guess what it is? He's
No.
looking.
What are you talking about?
Because I'm making a joke. It's Rudbeckia Gold Blitz right there on the corner. That is one of my favorites, though.
Why'd you put that close to me?
Well, for one, it worked right there in the layout, but also you look great next to it. Wow. I have a grove of Rudbeckia, and I have a lot of different varieties. One of my favorite being the Maxima, which we have not brought on the show before because the blooms are so tall. They're taller than me.
Right.
It has these bluish leaves that come up that are very, very large, shoots up, gets way tall. Little birds love them. And then next to that, we've got Magic Show Pink Pony. Veronica.
I love that.
That one is super, super cute. I used to have
Jonathan
some of
Melcher.
this. I don't anymore, and I kind of want to bring it back.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. I love that pink color and the little, it looks like troll hair a little bit.
Yeah.
It's great. And then Mesa Peach Blanket Flower. Now, I didn't think that this was blanket flower when I was out there selecting what we were going to put in room today. I thought it was some large sneeze weed or something. And Bridget was like, no, it's not. It's a blanket flower. And I never would have guessed that. It looks cool and pretty crazy.
It's good yellow.
And then next to it, lantana. Y'all, lantana is always a popular plant when it comes to annuals here, but I feel like it's flying off the shelves more this year than it has.
I think people are finally starting to realize that thing's easy as pie.
It's so easy. It can take all day full sun. It's drought tolerant. It's great. You know, the pollinators love it. They'll come right to it. This is lucky yellow lantana that we have. It gets to be a little shrub. And then next to it, this is something that I've never grown before. Right there, wishbone flower.
Tarenia.
Tell us about it. Have you grown it before, Austin?
Very commonly put in hanging baskets. It's cheery. I mean, it keeps
very
blooming
cheery.
too. And beautiful pinks. There's blues, purplish ones. But I rarely have ever grown. I think I have grown it in the past, but not very much. I don't know why.
Gorgeous.
But it is pretty.
My eyes are always kind of drawn to it when I'm back in the annual greenhouse. We have like a little selection of it, and those colors that Austin listed are what we have right now. And yeah, it's cute. I haven't tried it. I don't know if I'll try it this year, but maybe next. And then those pink flowers that are sticking up in front of that's going to be double play Dolly Spirea. I'm starting to see a lot of Spirea blooming around town. On my drive home yesterday, I saw
Busted
some
out at my house.
that looks just like this one.
It's been a good spirea year so far.
Yeah, our Spirea on the lot looks great right now. It makes me want to buy a lot of it. And then up here, we've got a salvia. This is going to be Lyrical Rose. Oh, wow. Right there. Oh.
Let's write a song.
It does sound like a song. And then right behind that, this is an interesting plant that we got in this year. Bridget and I were talking about it. It came from Monrovia. Funny thing, we just got a question about it last week, and we didn't know if we ever got this. This is going to be Color Burst Red Cape Fuchsia. So it is in our zone. I'm not sure how well it would do here, but supposedly this is going to be a more perennial fuchsia. It looks like the hummingbirds would love it if they could get below it and get their little beaks in it.
They
and
can.
the tag says it does get 3 foot tall.
Yeah, they're going to go right up to
So
it.
Zone 6 to 10 is what the tag says, I think.
Yeah, that is what it said.
Yeah.
That's good.
And for those keeping score at home, we got to the 48-minute mark of the program before Bridget's name was mentioned.
Oh, wow.
Bridge.
Shout out to Bridget.
Nice.
Love you.
And then our feature plant today, we've got a stilby. This is you and me always.
Oh.
So I planted a stilby for the first time this spring, and I'm absolutely loving it. I have it in the shade. It's all about to be in full bloom. I mean, you walk back there and you see these plumes coming up in a Celeste little shade area display, and it's just so cool.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it would make a great cut flower too.
How tall is that, Caroline?
That one's about 18 inches.
Thank you, Josh.
Yeah.
I'm terrible with height.
It's about a bird
That's
bath.
above
It's
the-
about
that's
a bird
above the
bath.
ground, yeah.
About a bird bath
It's
talking
like a bird bath plus like an extra little rim.
The name suggests that they always flower in doubles, but that's not really true. Is
No.
it?
I mean, there is a double, and they look like they're holding
Does it-
hands
I
side
mean,
by side.
Just by looking at the name or listening to the name and looking at that particular specimen, it's you would think that. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
truth in advertising is that they don't actually double flower.
I love that though. But that's what we have in room today.
Great job today, Caroline.
Bravo.
This is
Thank
a
you.
beautiful
Caroline.
set.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I always just start with one plant, then I'm like, okay, we need to bring that in, and then I go from there for the little design. I have a fun time doing it each week.
Hey, did you see the question from Lars?
I did not.
Lars says, I'm from Montana, sending good and friendly vibes.
Oh.
How long does pink pony bloom for?
What, the Veronica?
The
Veronica
Veronica.
blooms a long time. I mean, once
Wow.
it starts and it works itself up. If you deadhead it quickly, it might even go longer. But hey, you're in Montana. That's cool.
That is cool.
I don't know if
love
Veronica.
Montana.
Let's see how cold hardy is this? Because what is Montana's zone like?
Probably like
3, 4? I don't know.
Depends on
I
whether
don't know.
southern
I
Montana
did-
is a big state and it's
It's-
very diverse as far as
very
the
big
landscape.
and
too.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's one of my
Absolutely.
favorite states. I had a white Veronica years ago, and I would cut it back in the summer after it had bloomed, and I would get a reflush.
Yeah. Well, it says it's hardy down to -30. So I don't know where yet in
Oh.
Montana, but it sounds like it'll live there.
It doesn't matter.
Yep.
He'll get to -30 somewhere.
Yeah, at some point, yeah. But it says zone 4 to 8. So
Very good.
if you're in that area, I'd say try it out. But it does have a long bloom time, which is nice. I love
Montana
Veronica.
looks like it's zone 3A to 6B.
So quite a bit of
Depending.
zones.
Western Montana seems much warmer. It looks like northern Montana might be a no-go.
and the worst case scenario is that it gets treated like an annual.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. I
It
mean,
may well have value, even if it's only used, because there's a lot of things that we use here that are not hardy here, that we that are not perennial here, that we use anyway because they just look so nice. But further south, they are a perennial. So
And Lars says that will work.
Yeehaw.
nice. I can
So-
just imagine Lars on a horse riding up to a sunset looking at Veronica.
Yes, Lars.
Riding out to see the
Getting
Veronica
it.
patch.
Yeah, riding up.
Make that Veronica patch and send it to
He's
us.
riding fences, checking Veronica. I love it. Lars, get on that horse.
I haven't been there since like 2020, but one day I'll make it back. And while Tyler's starting to pull up photos, we did get a live question in from Kelly on Facebook. Kelly says, OMG, something is pulling up my plants. Thai basil rosemary. Is it a rabbit? It's inside a fence.
Sounds rabbity.
It
or
sounds
squirrely.
rabbity.
Yeah.
Or squirrely.
I have a groundhog that likes to attack my plants.
They'll pull them up.
So
too.
cute though.
I mean, with
I
young
have
plants,
crazy
deer can do it.
robins that do that.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Crazy robins.
All the mammals just after us.
Yeah, birds foraging can do a lot of damage sometimes,
Destroyed-
especially with
destroyed
seedlings.
my,
Sounds like
chickens.
it could be a number. Yeah. Austin's chicken showed up at your house and uprooted your plants.
They would. If you threw them out there, they would. They're annoying little chickens.
Have they messed with your tunias yet?
Yeah, I told you about it. One of them. It's still laying down.
Wait, I don't think you told me about
Yeah,
that.
I did. I brought it up on the show a couple weeks ago, Carol. I don't know how you forget. It's
Well,
the first one in the row.
I'm a little busy bee over here on my laptop.
You are a busy bee.
All right, Tyler, are we ready to put up some photos?
I'm ready.
Yeah, you want to start with cherries first? Is
Let's
that
start
cool?
with Cherries.
Cherry.
Cherries sent her climbing rose. She says, "Oh my, stunning climber this year."
Oh, God. I just had a heart attack.
Better put shades on, baby.
That is absolutely stunning. I've been wanting one of these for quite a while, and now I feel like this,
Peggy
this
Martin's
photo-
having a moment.
Yeah, Peggy Martin is absolutely having a moment. This, I feel like, has been our most popular rose this year.
Any climbing rose for the most
Yeah.
part, but you're right, Carol.
But
Over the
Peggy
past 3
Martin,
years, I think.
People have been coming in. We sell out of it. I've helped quite a few people who saw it. Either we talked about it on the show or in our social media, and they came out to pick one up. And a lot of times they were gone, but they were
yeah.
happy about it. They were like, "Well, that's fine." And I let them know we'll probably get more in.
We're out of it right now. I had a guest yesterday. Literally, she was like, "Hey, there's this climbing rose out there that's like it's like a lady's name." I'm like, "You're talking about Peggy
Peggy.
Martin?" She was like, "That's it. How'd you know?" I'm like, "Because everyone on the planet wants Peggy Martin rose right now."
because it's great.
Well, that picture just
Well, now
shows
you
it.
know why.
Cherry has the
Cherry's
prettiest
gonna
Peggy
create
Martin
a
rose on the
rush
planet.
to us today by folks seeing
The
this
rock
photo.
border.
Oh,
Yeah,
Come on,
Cherry,
Cherry.
that is.
you're right, Tyler.
Lily's right
Wow.
beside 'em,
Shades-
too.
shades gotta
man,
go
what a
up.
gorgeous
Oh my
bird.
gosh! All right, let's go ahead and. Oh, Austin's got his shades on.
I can't look at that without shades.
Wow. Are you just sleeping under those sunglasses?
No.
All right, Tyler, what you got
He
next?
got his sunnies on. This is a
No.
rare moment.
Yeah.
What do I have next?
Let's see it.
Whose
Let's
photo?
get Joyce in the mix. huh?
Joyce, so
Nice.
Joyce has sent some mixed arrangements over.
There you
Joyce
go.
is saying, I was in charge of the flower
Mm,
arrangements for our HOA annual meeting. You don't always need lots of blossoms, Milky Way, Coosa Dogwood, Canyon, I can't talk, Creek,
Can
Abelia.
you dig it?
Let's just say there's a lot of gorgeous plants in this arrangement, Joyce. Those are
What a
stunning.
great mix of both foliage and flowers. I mean, that's really, you need that foliage in there to make the flowers really stand out. And she did a wonderful job on both of those arrangements. That's really,
Yeah,
Great
those
use
are
of the
great.
coral
Like a
bell
great-
blooms.
It looks like a great cookbook.
And that's
underneath
what
it,
I've been
too.
talking about. Those heuchera, the coral bell flowers are perfect for mixed arrangements. They don't look like much when they're on their plant still blooming. Austin's looking at me with this look.
No, I keep going, Caroline.
But you put them in your mixed arrangements and they pop. They're
That-
great.
That
there's
you're
no future
exactly
in trying
right.
to read Austin's mind, Caroline.
Yeah.
So true, David.
Oh, but
So
Joyce,
true.
those are beautiful. Foliage is needed in any mixed container, and that is beautiful. I'm thinking on the right, I saw calycanthus leaves on that.
It looked
is what
like it.
looked like.
Calycanthus leaves are huge.
Those glossy,
It
beautiful.
might be a
leaves.
little too glossy for
I
calycanthus.
think that's Joyce. Let us know. It
She
looks
She
like
probably
said,
did in the email. I'm trying to pull
Milky
it up.
Way, Coosa Dogwood.
That's on the left.
Canyon Creek, Abelia, Hugendorn Holly,
Tyler's reading it all.
Curly Fries Hosta, and some Epimedium.
Curly fries?
that's on the left. What do we have on the right? Did she say?
Oh, on the right,
Yeah.
Caroline, do you have it up?
I don't have it up
Okay.
anymore.
Fire and Ice Hydrangea, Three Amigos Abelia foliage, hey, Heuchera foliage and flowers, 2 different plants, Aphrodite.
Calycanthus.
It is
Calycanthus.
calycanthus, yeah.
Yeah.
That's glossier than my, I think it's like a Merlot name.
Yeah,
That is
new
one of my
foliage
favorites.
comes out really nice and with a nice sheen to it. Probably
that's
doesn't
great.
hold it into the heat, but boy, it looks stunning.
Yeah,
That
it's
is
tucked in there
gorgeous.
in the middle.
Amazing.
Great work, Joyce. Proud of you.
So proud. All right. Can we throw up Lisa's azaleas? This was a question that we got sent last week. We did not, we're not able to get to it. So I,
I
wanted to make sure
apologize for what you're about to see.
Oh.
Oh, so this is Lisa. Inside Out Show. What is wrong with my Gumpo azaleas? How can I fix it? I plan on pruning seriously after it quits blooming. And how can I keep it from happening again?
Go back to the picture, Tyler.
Yeah,
You see,
let's
try
get
to
out of this window.
Get what's
Okay.
in there. It looks like potential scale. I see. You see all that white in there on the stems? Like that look. I mean, which is kind of weird a little bit for scale to get on azaleas, but honestly, scale's not that picky on what plants it wants to get on. But the white kind of reminds me of scale. I need to look at it better.
It looks like lichen too.
Yeah, it's just but it's not a good spot. That's a whole chunk of that Gumpo, which is highly annoying. But I think you're right on point with what you need to do, which is give it a good cutback. I know you're probably going to get rid of the foliage on that, but it only lasts for a couple weeks and then it'll shoot new foliage. So I think you need to do that, and then we need to bring me in a stick or two and let me actually look and see what pest that actually
Gonna
is.
give it a
Looks
sniff.
physical damage to me,
Jumpos
too,
are
to a certain
amongst the
degree.
more problematic of azalea cultivars. I mean, they are not without issues. They don't grow fast. I mean, that's part of the attraction is that they stay low and they're not hard to manage. But, you know, they're difficult.
They are.
So they're not as bad as rhododendron, but they're all in the same family. And, you know, you can, I have seen this many times over the years. Fortunately, it's just like a dead spot in it. Once you cut it back, it should fill back out. They're not the best at dealing with cold weather either. So that's just, you know, part of the culture and the general hardiness and problems with it. I do think that you're right, that there looks like there's some scale on there. So need to be mindful of that.
All of the above. So
And
Wait
then,
until it flowers and then cut it all back.
Tyler, did you get Bill Hayes's like vegetable garden photos and video?
kohlrabi.
Bill.
I don't know.
Bill,
I have the
doesn't
other
know.
one that somebody sent in with the 2 bushes.
That might be Ed and Risha. But Bill Hayes, I just want to do a shout out because he's got a vegetable garden that I saw the photos and videos that he sent on Facebook, on the Geo Facebook page. Kohlrabi, cabbage, tomatoes, peppers are absolutely killing it. this
Really
year.
outstanding.
Unbelievable raised
Really
beds, man.
outstanding.
They are awesome.
Also known as Buffalo.
Buffalo.
Buffalo. All right. And then Ed and Risha sent pictures of the front of their house. They say, hey, gang, since I shot some pictures of the backyard, thought I would give you a shot of our front porch and sidewalk.
Let's see
Oh
it.
man, that
No.
wasn't
Garden
that.
tour.
Oh,
And it's the garden.
was so
Looks
last
like
week.
y'all will be on the garden tour next
Can
year.
we do this one right now, and then I can jump
Okay.
back to that one? 'Cause
Yeah, that was a live one that came in. Hang on, let me hop to it real quick. Tyler, I'm thrown off right
I'm
now.
sorry, Caroline.
Looks like I can tell. They got one butterfly bush.
It's a
looks
butterfly bush, yeah. So basically, planted both of them. They got them here, and I know she said that. Sorry, I'm trying to get to the stuff. Okay, this is from Kim. One is doing great. The other one looks pretty wimpy. They're only about 4 feet apart. Same area, same amount of sun, same care and water. I'm including a picture. Any thoughts on what is wrong and if it will make it?
Well, the
Something
one
on
on
the
the
ground.
Yeah, I mean, one on the left looks fine. One on the right certainly looks funky. And
Yeah,
those
something
I
in the
can't.
ground.
I wish we could zoom into that, but it's very spotty on the leaves. I don't know if there's been any Roundup around. Let me see. Oh goodness, that looks. I'd almost look on the back sides of those leaves. Okay, see if there's pests in there because that's making some distortion. Obviously, yellowing really badly. Oof, that is rough.
He's looking at a close-up photo on my
Yeah,
laptop.
it almost looks viral even.
Yep.
Which I hate to say, viruses in the plant world are not good. But since that has such crinkly leaves, if there hasn't been Roundup applied anywhere and drift hasn't gotten on that, then I'm gonna go virus on that. And then viruses are not good, y'all.
So maybe she should remove it.
I would.
So
I don't
it
want to
doesn't-
just go there yet, but
Yeah.
because it might be insects that are causing the curling and yellowing. Like I said, inspect the back sides of those leaves really well and see if you got bugs on the back sides, and then we can help out from there.
Thrips get those?
Not so much in the
Yeah.
yard. I mean, when it blooms, they probably would,
Yeah.
but that looks different.
It does look
Another
different.
Different
Yeah.
usually means viral.
Oh,
Anyway,
yeah. We've all got problems like that, though.
And then here's a palette cleanser.
There it
Hey.
is. Ed and Risha. Look at that. That is stunning. So clean.
so clean. I am proud of y'all. Look at those cheery daisies with that hydrangea blooming in the background. Japanese maple, just money right in the middle.
She had clematous last year.
Where is that clematous?
I think it's on the other side.
Is it?
Sneaky
So
clam.
send a photo of that next week.
Tyler. Oh, that's beautiful. It's a quick show today, y'all.
Yep.
Very quick.
It was.
All right, folks.
Glad everybody tuned in.
Yes.
And we got through quite a lot of questions. I have no idea how many, but it was a bunch.
We
Way
did
more
good.
than last week. So thanks for sending those in and participating on the program.
Yep. Hey, folks, go out there to all the social media sites, like, subscribe, share, do whatever he has to do for that individual site, because we want to. We will come back for you, but we'd like to get as many of our friends in the world joining us on Saturday mornings. Hey, folks, we appreciate you. We love you. Come out here to Bates. It's amazing stuff out here this week. Got to see it. We'll see you next Saturday morning right here from the Green Room Studios at Bates Nursery and Garden Center.
Grandma's come shop geraniums
Yeah.
with me.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.